We ought to be able to work it out.
We was meant to be. Since a teen, I never could let the pencil free. It took a hold of me, molded me to an MC. Older G's telling me to keep it low key. I feel you brothers, black tints and some OG. Kush got me feeling good and my soul free. Platinum Patron, abdomen full of gold. I take time out every day to bring my enemies roses to their grave. Either way, I'm a king. Diamond ruby crown.
Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. We're going to be looking at a fragrance today that for the most part is a darling of the online and YouTube fragrance community, and that is L'air du Désert Marocain by Andy Tower. Andy Tower is also a darling of the online fragrance community as well, and that's mainly because he embraces that community. You know, when I was starting with my reviews, I wrote Mr. Tower in an email asking him for just some general advice about the industry. You know, I was thinking maybe I wanted to get involved in that industry, and I still think I might on a sales level or a brand rep level. And he responded with a very genuine, honest email back. He didn't sugarcoat stuff, you know. He gave me some advice, some info, and just some of his own experience. And I appreciated that, you know. And I also asked him for some samples, and he was letting me very honest, and sort of letting me know that, you know, the amount of subscribers I have, he really couldn't be sending me, or just the amount of videos I've done, any free samples. But he implored me to purchase some from him and seek them back out. And I had 30 subscribers at the time, I think maybe less. And man, has it been a journey for me with well over 600 subscribers now. And I just think that Andy was very genuine with me and just not condescending, just a very down-to-earth, real guy. And of course, I also saw Andy on Street Sense. I really enjoyed watching that, both episodes. I think that Al's a great interviewer. I really like seeing him get people on the show like Andy and Chad and Mindy and Oya from Mim. And people like that. So I've been a big fan of Al's for quite some time in Street Sense as well. And as far as knowing the fragrances that Andy Tower makes, you know, I really knew about them through the online community. I know a lot of them get a highly positive response. And the two that I wanted to get my nose on first were this one, L'air du Désert, and Lone Star Memories. Lone Star Memories is sort of a cowboy-inspired scent with some birch tar in it and cedar and veteran sandalwood. And many of you guys know I do episodes sponsored by the Decant Shop called Sample Shopping. And one of these episodes, I got a sample of this fragrance, L'air du Désert. And this was right after I watched the Fragrance Bros kind of savage this fragrance. So even though I had initially high expectations, they were sort of tempered by that review, mainly because I trust their noses. So I really didn't know what to expect with this. So I got like a 2 or 3 ml bottle from Decant Shop, and I got to tell you guys off the bat, just really fell in love with this fragrance. It took no time at all, and I put it on my to-buy list. And by the way, that's a really good reason why perfumers and houses should want their fragrances in decant shops and places like that do decants, because that's really how people can wear it and decide to buy it. And I have a huge to-buy list, and normally things get added, but they don't get bumped up that list too much. But this one I bumped up big time. I went to Min earlier this week and I bought it. And 50 ml of this fragrance is going to run you about $125, so a very good price for a high-quality niche scent. And at Mint, of course, you get that 15% Frunkinator discount, so that brings us down to about $108, which to me was just a fantastic deal. For those of you who don't know who Andy Tower is, he's a Swiss chemist and a self-taught perfumer who has his own house, and it has been unbelievably well received. As I said, he currently has about 16 or 17 fragrances in the catalog, and basically for Andy Tower, starting his own house, for him it was a dream come true. He aspired to make fragrances that were out of the ordinary. Min has a great quote from him on their website, which is, the quote is, "You need absolute freedom to create beautiful fragrances, and you need time and the best ingredients you can get. That is the true mystery to creating thrilling fragrances." And the first fragrance that Andy Tower released from his own line was called Le Maroc. And Le Maroc is a women's scent that you can probably guess was influenced by Morocco. Tower really started with his fragrance house in 2004, 2005. Up to that point, he was making fragrances for friends and family. And he had a good friend named Pascal, who had a bookshop in downtown Zurich, who sort of inspired him to create a Moroccan scent using ingredients from Morocco. the bookshop that he owned sold a lot of goods from Morocco and other exotic countries as well. And his friend Pascal has a house in Marrakesh, in Morocco. So the first scent was Le Maroc, and that didn't sell the way they had hoped it would. So Andy decided to try a masculine scent, and obviously we got this fragrance right here. This one had a bit of different inspiration. This one was released in 2005 and was meant to be a lighter unisex version of Le Maroc. And the description of this fragrance is powerful, sensual, and pure. Laying on the bed, watching the moon rising over the hills of the Saharan desert, he dreamt the fragrance of a Moroccan night. Now, as far as your presentation goes on the Andy Tower fragrances, the bottles haven't changed. Well, they have, actually. They were a lot simpler when he started his house, but now they've sort of gone to this beautiful five-sided, I'm not really 100% sure what the name of this shape is, but beautiful. Fits wonderfully in the hand. And here you can see it's number 2 in 10 Eau de Toilette Intense, L'air du Désert Marocain, and then just some information about the house on the bottom. And what has changed, though, more is the box. It used to be in a sort of tin shaped like the fragrance. Now it comes in this handy blue sort of case with the name of the fragrance there, some information on the back. And when you slide this out, you're left with this aluminum case, and there's a handwritten note from Andy inside that simply says, as you can see, Tower, enjoy Andy Tower, which he signed, and then again more information about the fragrance, and then there's a place for the fragrance to sit inside. So when you want to put it away, you just put that in it. You sort of slide this back over it, just align it correctly, and then you can just throw it back. And this can fit, of course, very nicely in a drawer or something like that. So just a very simple and nice presentation. These are handmade bottles from France, and the cap is made out of real wood. The atomizer is good. It's not the best one I've ever used, but it's pretty good. It disperses the spray evenly, so it definitely works. This is, by the way, the 50 ml bottle, which I believe is the only size bottle that this fragrance comes in. And your notes on this fragrance, L'air du Désert Marocain, are going to be coriander and cumin, blended with petitgrain at the top, rock rose and jasmine in the middle, dry cedar woods, vetiver, and ambergris are the base in this fragrance. And Andy Tower said about this fragrance, imagine finding peace in the room, lying on a bed exhausted from the heat of the day, with the window open, letting the cool air in, which is still very dry and filled with the scents from the near desert and overlaid with the spicy scents of the street below. And that's sort of what he talked about in the second video he did with Al from Street Scents. This is supposed to be a scent of desire, inspired by the fragrant world of the desert, powerful, sensual, and pure. It is a dry, resinous cedar scent, rounded out with rock rose and jasmine, and hits of typical Moroccan spices, such as coriander, cumin, and petitgrain. A unisex scent, the cedar and vetiver base notes hover over a fine amber background. So that's sort of the description of the scent. I believe that's the lucky scent description. And for me, that's exactly what this fragrance is. It is stunning. It is a fragrance that has the power to blow you away. I obviously have never been to a Moroccan desert, but the first thing that I said to myself when I smelled this scent is this sort of smells like a physical location somewhere in the world. And what I think about is exactly what Andy said. I think about maybe being in a hotel in Morocco with my terrace door open. Maybe there's a souk nearby with some spices in the air. There's some bread or cookies baking from a nearby restaurant or bakery. Maybe there's some tea, like a herbal tea in the air from a cafe near the hotel, and a jasmine bush, and that desert air is picking all that up and blowing it through your window. That's totally what I get when I smell this fragrance. I'll tell you what, guys. To me, a lot of Amouage fragrances aim to be like this. I think that's also what a lot of Montal fragrances aim to be like this as well. I think Montserrat took a swing at making a fragrance like this with Sand Oud, and I think they missed by a desert mile, let's put it like that. And this is really what a Mideastern scent should be, and I think this is the kind of scent that really represents the aromas of the Middle East. It's just a perfect scent for that kind of vibe, and thankfully it happens to be quite wearable as well. Vanilla is definitely prominent in this. I definitely get vanilla, sort of like a dusty vanilla with rock rose and touches of cumin and coriander, and I find it to be really rich and funky and just a dope smell. And I can see why some people are put off by this fragrance, but I fucking love it. I think it's just so unique, and there's nothing out there like it. You know, a lot of people sort of compare it a little bit to La Mal and Reflection Man, and I sort of get both of those comparisons. To me, it's like La Mal on acid or LSD, though. I also think I pick up a bit of aldehydes in this scent, like a sort of ozonic note, and I definitely get cedar too. It's an absolute cozy scent that is just going to do brilliantly now that it's getting colder outside. In my opinion, this is made for the colder months and colder nights. I think it's going to do it would do tremendous around like a campfire. And as it fades down, woods really come out, and so does that jasmine, which gives it such an exotic touch. On my skin, at least, this is beast mode shit. I get 8 to 12 hours from it. It also projects really well. So the 50 ml bottle is a great amount of juice because two sprays in your set with this. One behind each ear works well for me. This also scores points because I really do think it could be a unisex scent. Anyone who appreciates this scent is going to appreciate scents. They're a little bit funky and a little bit different. But if you're in that category and you like your things like that, this will do well for you. There's nothing out there like it, and it shows great skills and creativity from Andy Tower. It shows a mastery of ingredients and a real skill at blending notes, as these notes really do weave in and out of each other rather seamlessly. I don't know whether or not I will find other gems in the Tower catalog. I suspect that there are some out there. I do want to smell Lone Star Memories, as well as Orange Star and Incense Rose and the Pentachord line. But whatever I find there, whether it be good or bad, it will not take away from the fact that this is probably one of the 10 best niche scents that I've ever gotten my nose on. It's original, it's potent, it's not expensive, and I think it's fairly versatile. So let's talk about that for a moment, because a lot of people, fragrance bros included, have sort of said just liking this scent isn't the only issue. A lot of people find it hard to wear, and I just totally disagree with that. I think that Encre Noir and Black March by I Hate Perfumes and some of the Comme des Garçons scents are hard to wear. I don't think that this one is. You have to choose your moments and occasions, but I think you could definitely wear this out on a cold night or even a cool night and garner some attention. It's not for everyone, but most great niche fragrances aren't for everyone, because in my opinion, in order to be a great niche fragrance, you got to be a little bit out there and take risks and be different, and that's exactly what this fragrance is. Now, it's not a perfect scent. It can be difficult to locate, and I do find this to be fairly linear, but all in all, it's a very impressive, excellent scent. To me, it is a 9 out of 10. I can't see this not being in my winter and fall rotation for years to come. I like fragrances that are conversation pieces. I appreciate the personal touch on the packaging, and I applaud Andy Tower for taking a risk in building his brand and for being so accessible to a community that so many other houses and perfumers forsake. So bravo to Andy Tower, and bravo to Min for being the only outlet in New York that I believe sells the Tower line. Guys, get your nose on this and make your assessment. I can't assure you that you'll like it. I can't assure you that you'll dislike it. But you will not, what I can assure you is that you will not smell many fragrances like this. It is extremely unique. And I'll tell you the rub here. Basically, the bottom line, the brass tacks is the Tower is now on my radar. I plan to have Adriana from Decant Shop send me some more Tower fragrances. And when you talk about the quality you get from the Tower line in terms of packaging and presentation with the hand side card and the strength and sheer power of the fragrance, and then you throw in the price, this is a great buy. And if the other scents are anywhere near as good as this one, you have to put it right up there with lines like L'Artisan and Montal as the best valued niche fragrance lines out there. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. We will be back next week with a designer review from the House of Guerlain and a sample shopping episode during the middle of the week. So stay tuned for those. And you know what it is, 2 videos at least a week. Get your nose on this. This is just a great scent. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for 2 more videos next week. I am Maximilian.
While she do me porno movie style, just hit me out, this chick is wild. If I had a crystal ball to show me a list of all the groupies I passed up and all of my missed calls the next day, fuck what the rest say.